The video file was corrupted, and I only had today to turn this in. Don't worry, the whole series is going to be in video format. See you next week.
The anger I felt researching this topic and researching for this series is something I haven't felt in a long while. I was really frustrated with the videos I watched. I rarely read a book on this. I did not read any book on this, and I did not read an article on this. I only watch videos. Every single video I watched for this podcast episode is linked in the description. I am really angry right now because I recorded this yesterday, and when it was time for me to edit, I noticed that all of the files were corrupted. I bought the wrong SD card, and the SD card I own right now cannot contain the quality I was recording at. It was so frustrating. I have the audio file, but I wanted this to be a video episode. I contemplated like editing the audio file and just putting transcripts, but I really wanted you to see the emotion on my face and the way I look when I'm saying several points. I think it's really important to like state this at the top here. I want to introduce this series to you. It's called Fascism Bad. It's a question I have in my head. This question is something I have pondered for the last several months. Is fascism really bad? What is fascism? And why are people drawn to fascism at this current climate? These and many questions are what I hope to answer in this week's and the subsequent weeks, the next 5 weeks at least. 4 weeks for you, 5 weeks for me. Um, topics. This whole series is broken down into blocks. The first block is the introduction and the title, The Illusion of Normalcy. Then next week's block is for and the crowd, for and against. Then a week after that is Alligator, Alcatraz, for and against. Then after Alligator, Alcatraz, for and against, the week after Alligator, Alcatraz, for and against, it's not happening to me. So I'm lucky to be part of this cohort. And then the final episode from this series is What Would You Do? And that's how the series was curated. That's how my brain thought of each block. When I decided to do fascism bad question mark a couple weeks ago, it's been like 2 weeks or 3 weeks now since I like decided I was gonna do fascism bad. I first chose to do this as a video podcast, just like one long podcast. And I know I could do that, but I recorded yesterday and I know how long I spoke for. I spoke for 50 minutes yesterday. And the podcast is usually 20 minutes, 30 minutes. But I think if I spoke on every single point, I like in just one episode, I think I would like misrepresent my thoughts in that point. So I'm giving myself 5 episodes to articulate and pour out all of what I think in each episode. Hi, Edison Clinton here. I really want to apologize for the echo that you hear starting from this point. I believe if you're going to watch every single one of my videos, and not my videos, but every single like video I recommended for this podcast episode, I feel you should pause it in certain like points. If you're getting angry when you're like consuming whatever I put on the videos, the 4 videos I put on my lists on the description, I feel you should pause it and recenter yourself and then play it again. Like the way I'm to describe the way like watched like the Netflix series. I did not know a lot about Hitler before starting the series. And when I found out facts about him while like consuming that documentary, Hitler and the Nazis, Evil on Trial on Netflix, I was shocked. I was like, okay, like this guy is so dumb. Like, and I paused it in some aspects and like Googled stuff and paused it in some spaces or like some points and like asked chat like clarifying questions because I was like confused in some parts of this. And I never knew Hitler started World War II. Yeah, sorry.
For the audio listeners, there is 4 men walking on the street of Edinburgh wearing MAGA hats.
You just saw the MAGA video, the infamous video that I think, in a way, probed my questioning of this current sphere, this current psyche. Um, when I saw that video on my TikTok, because when I know last week I said I deleted TikTok, yes, I deleted TikTok. When I saw this video 2 weeks ago on TikTok before I deleted TikTok, and it was so strange. I was like, okay, you're not in America. Why wear this hat? Like, it's a very strange way to show that you support this figure, even when you're not in the country where this figure is the president or the ruler. I wonder why you can't live or leave your political ideology in your own country, but you're coming to a different country and proclaiming it through this merch. I can't even say that's a merch anymore. Through this weird symbol. I did Clothing is Politics the first year of the Where's My Main podcast. And I can't remember every single thing I said in that episode, but if you want to listen to that episode, you should truly go listen to Clothing is Politics, the Where's My Main podcast episode. And back then, I never really thought of the MAGA hat. But in the past year, anytime I see someone wearing a red hat, I automatically think of the the abbreviation or the slogan or whatever it's called, Make America Great Again. And for me, that's weird. No? When I was watching the Nazi and the Hitler series, they had a handband that I, in my opinion, because I asked chat about this and chat was like, I would not say they're the same thing, but I kind of think they like fulfilling the same mission. No? I kind of feel that they are fulfilling the same mission. In Germany in the 1930s, the mid 1930s, these people wore that handband to show what they stood for. And I feel that's exactly the same thing people who wear the MAGA hats do. When I started thinking about this series, I chose to take the same strategy that I use to try and like pinpoint people I think may be racist. My strategy is to look for as much racist people I can possibly find and look for characteristics that they have that I can in turn avoid. But because of how racist people are, they're very ambiguous. My findings from people who might be racist was really ambiguous because I thought, oh, if she's wearing white shoes with brown pants, she's racist. But I've met someone who's wearing white shoes with brown pants and it's not racist. So it's like really ambiguous. You really don't know who is who. And that's exactly the same thing I found when I searched up fascists and Nazis. When I was researching this whole thing, a phrase or a heading came knocking in every single part. Sometimes louder and sometimes very subtle. The great replacement theory. I never really mentioned why I deleted TikTok, but I chose to follow news stations. And because of what I watch on YouTube, I got a lot of people speaking about ground news. So I started following. So, no, I did not follow ground news, but I wanted to do what ground news does. It shows you both sides of the political aisle, the political spectrum. It shows you what the left is talking about and what the right is talking about. And I was like, I can do this on my TikTok. I already get like left wing politics a lot. Let me follow like some right wing companies. And then the comment section of the right wing companies are very degenerate. They're very hateful. They're very hate driven. I was like, I can't do this anymore. And that was the very first time I saw the great replacement theory. When I recorded this yesterday, I said I've never been to a meeting of like all the races coming together and saying, oh, the whites, let's get rid of them. Let's all have babies with them and like get rid of all of them. No, I don't think any person of color or anybody who is not white is in a meeting plotting for the reduction of white people. I fear it's the lives they live in their head. When you live a certain reality in your head and you miss the real world, whatever you are playing up here is what feeds what you portray out here. If you're playing if you think everybody's a good person in your head, if everybody is a good person in your head, truly everybody's a good person. But if everybody or one group of people, one specific kind of people have something against you because you're a certain like person or because you are a certain kind of person, people who are Nazis live. They live in a false reality, a reality in their heads. How do you get to know the right white? That was a question I had when I was like researching this. How do you know which one to trust? I think it's good to give people the benefits of the doubt, unless they prove you otherwise. It's good to think everybody's a regular person, unless they show you, oh, I don't like people like you. I hope if you're watching this and you're not like a person of color or you're white, I hope you don't think I'm being rude, because I'm not being rude to anybody. Do I think the people who are fascist are wrong? I really do not know. Because to a certain extent, it works for them. I don't know how to answer that question. I have my answer, but I don't want to like pour my answer on you. I feel you should watch the whole behavior of a fascist and come up with your own conclusion. In America, both sides of the aisle speak about X being fascist and Trump being fascist. And I'm like, I really don't know if you can say that. Do I think Trump is fascist? No. Do I think there are things that Hitler did that are really aligning with what Trump's doing? I kind of do think that. The first thing I want to talk about is the Make America Great Again. In Germany, there was something called "Make Germany Great Again." When I heard that, I was like, "Whoa, there, girls!" I was so flabbergasted. I was really uncomfortable when I heard that. I was like, "I've heard that before in America." Okay. I think there's a problem with the Catholic Church and fascism. There was this guy on Jubilee. It's a YouTube, like, if you've never seen it, it's a YouTube debates channel, and they bring two people from different, or multiple people from different sides of political spheres, or from two different, they bring like an opposing side and a defending side for different topics, and they film them and they debate for like hours. And this video was 20 far rights versus one progressive. And this guy, and multiple of them were like Catholics and very far right. I don't know if the church, the Catholic Church, I'm saying, is that far right. I don't know. I'm a Catholic. Um, that's something I really want to know. And if anybody knows why that's like that correlation is happening, you can comment in this comment section. I did this when I was working on my fascism episode, or like no, sorry, when I was working on my racism, like like not playlist, like characteristics to like to like look out for, to know someone's racist, so I can avoid them. I don't care about if you. I don't care if you're racist. I just care enough to avoid you, and I tried to do the same with my research for this podcast episode, and I found out two things. The hand movement. Okay, three things. The hand movement. I'm not gonna do it. The swastika. Those two are really loud. And the most quiet one. I want to like look for like the silent ones, the ones that everyone is not looking for. And that's what I hope to like reveal to you, like for this 5 weeks of this like series. And 88. 88 means Hail Hitler. Um. So if you see someone tattoo like with the 88 tattoo, just look them in the eye and know that that person indeed is a fascist. If a country is filled with Nazis, is it bad to want them all to die? That's a question you should answer for yourself. If a country is filled with people who think of other people as lesser than, is it bad for all of them to die? Hitler was a very strange character because he loved Germany so much, but he wasn't German. He was Austrian. And when I found that out, I was like, hey, this guy is like literally not from, like, this play is literally not about you. I was like, the play is literally not about you, girl. Like, I don't know what to tell this guy. Like, stop fighting for these people. Like, you guys don't fight in the same team. You're literally from a different country, and these people are from like a totally different country. But he fought for them. He was like the annoying leader who destroyed almost everything that started at World War II. And there was this like,
This guy is basically asking this girl questions, and this is the transcript. The actual video was too noisy, and I wanted it to be clear for both the visual watchers and the audio listeners. They think having a black son would still totally be normal. But let's say you were the last person who could have children in your bloodline. You would throw away 10,000 years of, like, pure blood for that. Yeah, I think all blood is pure. You're being weird.
claim of the Aryan race being erased. And I was so confused at first because I was like, what's the Aryan race? I've never heard of that. And it's like white people with blonde hair and blue eyes. And I was like, okay. Hitler, you have brunette hair. Yesterday I said he had brown eyes. He doesn't have brown eyes. He has blue eyes. I watched the series again this morning and he indeed has blue eyes. But brunette hair. You're not pure Aryan because you don't have blonde hair. But at the same time, like, I don't know what's wrong with you, Hitler. I think the wide acceptance of people calling themselves Nazis and fascists. There's, I'm not gonna pull up these videos, obviously, but there's this weird video on the internet, and if you saw the video before, the guy who said, um, "You're tainting the blood, the white blood." Um, there's this guy from that Jubilee video as well. He said, what did he say? I can't remember what he said. In that Jubilee video, this guy said he's a Nazi and a fascist. And the progressives stopped speaking to him. And there's this like news anchor in like America who said like white people should start using Nazi like the way black people use the N word. And I was like, okay, that's really strange to say out loud. I don't think you should be saying that out loud. Um, so they can get rid of the meaning of the word. I don't think black people use the N word to get rid of the meaning of the word. Oh yeah, that's kind of what they did. But okay, that's double standard. No, but being a Nazi is bad. Like the N word is like used to degrade black people. Like people openly called yourself the like Nazis because they were seen as like strong white Christian men, and black people were called the N word because they were like, it's like a degrading term. It was not a lovely term in history. It was like a word to like let black people know, oh, you're not like us. Yeah, you will never be like us. I think that's the difference between like the N word and the Nazi word. Um, and that guy's so weird. But I feel the reason why people are like they speak these or they say this happily is because of the internet and the media in general. And this person I'm talking about who said that white people should start using the N word, the Nazi word, so the word loses its meaning? Question mark. Who knows? Um, he said that because he's part of Fox News in America, and it's a right wing news station, and every single person there agrees with what he said. And that's the problem. I feel because of how we're connected, we're only connected with people who like exactly the same thing as us, or the internet is, it works in a very funny way that every single person who you see or who you're like relating with is someone who has one or two, maybe three or four, or sometimes even almost every single thing. Like you guys have like multiple interests. You guys have a lot of interests that are similar and sometimes alike. And I feel the reason why it's like rampant and like wild spread is because when people say like outrageous things and like horrible things, they never get checked. They never get consequences for their actions because the person they're saying it to, the people who would see it, are people who agree with that sentiment. Um, and I think that's why it's so viral. Um, it's it's like poisoning, and I'm saying viral not in the sense of virality on the internet. I'm saying viral like a virus spreading. That's the way I'm using this word. um I think in the past, if you had this rank ideology, people would disagree with you so openly that you could be discouraged or choose to not pursue that ideology as fervently as a lot of people do now. Like with the curated TikTok pages that's very personal to you, and the people you follow on Instagram who are people who have the same maybe not the same, but like similar ideologies as you, and then the group chats you're part of and the discords you're part of, I think the whole ecosystem of like the social media ecosystem that we exist in, we think is the right social media ecosystem to exist on. But I feel there is this lack of disagreements most of the time. And when someone disagrees with you, you can attack them for like the people who like your audience. I'm talking about big creators now. Your audience attacks them because you guys all believe in one weird sent like ideology, i.e. Nick Fuentes, Grapers. This I was really confused. I was like, how did they find these people? This was really insightful, and it's one of the videos links down below in the description. And the guy said socially outcasted people, like people with ADHD and autism. These are main targets for the KKK. The KKK, fascists, Hitler, and no, not Hitler, Nazis. Um, and this is the strategy. They find the people's needs, they find the people's injuries, they exploit it, they take care of it, they slowly indoctrinate it. And if you can, you should tie it to, you should tie your suffering to your cause and provide relief, and then you've got them. That's what the guy said, and that's what the guy said they did to recruit people into the KKK. And I would say that's what people do to recruit people into far right conspiracy theories and like weird things. That was the introduction to this episode, or to this series in general. Now, let's begin. We've begun, but like now let's begin on the blocks. This is block one, the illusion of normalcy. They said it would never happen again. It's a normal day for Sam in mid-century. Sorry, mid-ninth. It's a normal day for Sam in mid 19. It's a normal day for Sam in mid 1930s Germany. He goes to work, he cleans, he has his kids, they go to school. His wife's home making dinner. He goes to the bakery to buy bread. After he's done with his industrial job, he gets home. He has fun with his kids. But in this same Germany, Anna happens to be born to the wrong side. She's Jewish. She's under siege. With this regime locking her up, she has nothing for herself. Nothing to look up to, nothing to look not not even nothing to look up to, nothing to look forward to. They have totally completely different lives. Yet they live in the same country, Germany. This is how it all started. Not with a bang, but with a calculate sorry, but with a calendar filled with plans. Anna's locked up and her life's uncertain, unstable, invisible. She lives under surveillance, fear, and dehumanization. Sam, on the other hand, thinks Anna has exactly the same life he has. They both have similar lives, but they live in different parts of Germany. Because in this time in Germany, Hitler, Adolf, made movies for the people of Germany to fool them and and making them think the other people who are not like us are not suffering. They're just apart from us, but living exactly the same life. But the unrest, the hunger, the beatings, the killings, the starvation, the eugenics all happened. I think this is me leaving my like scripts now. I think at a certain time, there's no way you can tell me you did not know what was going on. Like people talk, and most people like I would say people saw stuff was happening. No, if you chose to believe what Hitler was feeding you, was that a right thing to do? Sam would never hear her name, Anna. A lot of people in Germany would never hear the names of the Jewish people who were killed. She might not even be accounted for, because to them, they were humans, and people who were not like them were not humans. Shocking. It's really odd to me, and that's the best word I can use here, to see people treat animals, and I'm like coming back to like real life now, better than they treat people who are their fellow humans. Some people treat their dogs, Barrett Black, better than they treat some black people. Weird, no? That dog has less similarities with you than the human you think less than or treats in a very foolish, odd way. In the past, we could not tell who was really in lockstep. Because I truly believe, even if I've not seen this in any part of my research, but as a human being, I truly believe that they were people who did not like what was going on, but just went on with it because that's the way it goes. I truly believe if there were people there in Germany who fought back, that there would be a lot more people in the opposing side, and there would be people who could recover people who are in support of the Nazi party. Nazism and fascism doesn't exist in a bubble. It exists in every single sphere we look at, I believe. The system has locked her up. Still, it's normal because everyone around me, Charlie from down the block, is living a normal life. Suzanne from down the street is living a normal life. And I don't even know who Anna is. Nowadays, people proclaim their hatred for certain groups loudly on the internet, stating the facts why they hate their fellow humans, choosing an ideology or a political party that aligns closely with them. And that's not wrong. But I think making people the butt of your jokes, or killing, or like wanting to kill somebody else because they're different from you, is a very weird headspace. to operate in. There are two, I think one video in this catalog of videos I put down there on the description, and the guy killed, one of the guys killed um, black people. The other one killed a Jewish person. The other one killed Arabs. And I thought Nazis were only whites. Let's do some light laughing here. Some black people are part of like the Nazi party. I'm like, girl, when they stop using you, they will attack you first. I mean, they will attack you first. Yeah. And some Arabs, and this is so funny. In the um, Netflix series, there's this army group, or like this group that was like at the beginning, at the for the from the rise of Hitler. They're called the SAs, the stormtroopers, and Hitler liked them at the beginning. And when he saw, oh, I have the SS now, I have like the German army, I don't need these people anymore. He killed the leader, and the leader, for like the leader would have never thought Hitler would have killed him, but he killed him. He killed him, and this this also reminded me of the video from Jubilee I'm talking about in this like episode. And the guy was like, he needs an authoritarian, and he needs someone to like rule over America. And the progressive asked this guy, what if the person, after getting rid of all the people you don't think are fit for America, comes for you and your family? He said, no, they will never come for me. I'm not part of the group they will come for. How do you know? How do you know what's in somebody else's mind when the person can't be checked? Like, what the hell is that person saying? And that's the same reason, that's the same problem I had with that ugly fat guy. Do you know why? And do you know? I'm not insulting him because he's fat, but the reason why Hitler killed him, Hitler was like, I don't need these people anymore. And number two, he's gay, so I'm gonna shoot him. But at the end of the day, he got killed. So um how do you know, like, how do you know when you're not going to be part of the ideal group? Because I feel humans love to have an opposition. They always want to have something they feel they're against. I don't think humans can, or animals in general can always be for. I don't know, I may be wrong. No one I know has been sent to Alligator, Alcatraz, so why would I care? The solution I had for this whole fascist Nazi like problem I feel we have is for people to talk to other people outside their race, beliefs, gender, sexuality, to know them as real people. And I'm not saying go and talk to them and say, so how does it feel to be a white person, or how does it feel to be a Jewish person, or how does it feel to be a black person? No, like talk to them about random things, like talk to them about YouTube. Don't talk to, or like, how does it feel to be like an old person? No, talk to them about normal things that you both could like speak about for a long period of time. And I think when you know people as real people, then you stop viewing people as less than or more than. You think of people as equals, or you, because they're good and bad people from every parts of existence. This illusion persists because it's always happening to somebody else. It's never happening to me. And because it's happening to somebody else, I should not care. It's like it's happened to Clara. Like, Clara literally came here illegally, and now the government is dealing with her. Let him send her to Alligator, Alcatraz. And it's so funny. They are people who took photos in front of Alligator, Alcatraz, and there are people who wrote on the internet. And this is why I know I'm getting riled up. And this is how I felt when I was like researching this episode. But it's so strange because this is how people on Alligator, and like this is how people on the internet. This is why I think the internet is very horrible place because people said, "Oh, we should get like I want someone to escape so I could see someone get eaten by an alligator." Like, why would you say that on the internet? I don't think that makes sense. Like, say out loud. I don't think you should want another human being to be ravaged by an animal. I don't think anybody should fantasize about that. Am I crazy for thinking that? It's not like I'm friends with them. It's what people always say until they're the brunt of the stick, until it's happening to them. And when it's happening to you, you want sympathy from other people. A very good example for this is the woman who sang the viral song, I will vote. I don't want to laugh, but I have to laugh. I will vote for Donald Trump. I'm, I'm, not, I'm laughing at her, but her husband got deported in America. And she was in the media and she was like crying. And I was like, girl, you never thought you were going to be part of those people. Or your husband or somebody you know was going to be part of these people. But now they are part of these people. You're crying on the internet. And you want sympathy from people who told you, oh, maybe don't do that. And I'm not calling Trump a fascist or a Nazi. I'm not. But I'm just like pulling ideas together for this episode if you make it to this point. Like I said, the forbidden group becomes invisible until you're part of it. Then you can see it, feel it, and it's too late. There's this strange, I know I spoke about Aryan race before, but there's this strange ideal image that they should all like have. Let me read it out to you. The German regime had a model. They wanted straight, white, able bodied, smart, German, Christian, ideally a man. And if you are a woman, you were a reproductive figure, a wife, a builder of the next generation. You're not a real person. You're gonna have hobbies. No, you were born to be a mother, a wife, and that's all you were meant to do in your life if you're a woman in Germany. And that's what some Americans think now, i.e., Nick Fuentes. I don't know if that's what he thinks. I don't know. Allegedly. Um, and if you did not fit this image, you were unwanted and or endangered. Now, this is the wrap up, the conclusion of everything I've spoken about in this episode. You just need to be born into it. You literally need to be born into it. There's nothing you can do. There's no level of proximity to whiteness you can like attach yourself into that you could get into the club of fascists or Nazis. I think you have to be born white with blonde hair and blue eyes to be accepted. They even get rid. They even reject some. They even reject some whites because I can tell the difference between a Jew and a white person, but they seem to know. There's nothing you can't work for the ideal, and that's the problem. It has to be assigned to you by blood. The chosen ones didn't need to own their safety, they inherited it. Fascism isn't a meritocracy, it's mythology wrapped in skin and lineage. And the last thing I want to say is fascism does not need your hatred, it just needs you to be silent because it works best when you're silent. That's all I have for this block, for this part of this like series. I hope this is the last time I record this like first episode. It was so annoying. I know last week's episode. I know the episode I did yesterday was better than this episode, but I truly enjoyed this episode as well. I think it's the same notes, the same talking points, the same outline. I hope this episode like hits the right side of the internet. The art is really good. I love the art for this episode. I came up with this art weeks ago, and next week's art is more provoking than this week's art. And I don't have art for the next 3 weeks, but we'll see what happens. Um, what was I gonna say? The book I read this week was called The Woman in Number Three, and that's truly all I have in my mind. I'll see you next week in a very interesting episode. I write on Substack now, so if you want to read my thoughts, my first episode was on my suicide attempt. So if you want to see my thoughts, it's on the description. I'll speak to you next week. Goodbye.